Please can you remind me if you'll be so kind, staring out into space, asking God to hear my case, trying to think of all things past. How long will my memory last? The purple angel, the purple angel, the purple angel, you're next to me.
Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Alzheimer Speaks Radio. Today we're going to actually be doing a video interview with two fantastic companies that are opening up some new memory care called the BeeHive model. And we're really going to talk about how they're going to differentiate care here, especially in Minnesota, which happens to be, my home. And I'm really excited about having this conversation. But before that, I just want to thank our audience for listening and sharing all of the videos and audios that we do here on Alzheimer Speaks. You have really raised our profile and helped a lot of people find information about resources, products, and tools that are available all around the world that you can tap into. And I find that really exciting, because my mom herself had dementia for 30 years, and that was life-changing for me as a daughter, and that is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today, and we will talk about this new kind of intimate care model, and I think you're going to find it really fascinating. First, I want to introduce you to Joe and Ioana Childs. They have spent much of their careers in senior care. Ioana actually started as a dietary aide in assisted living communities in high school, and then went to college for healthcare administration and eventually became a licensed nursing home administrator. She worked for a large nonprofit senior organization where she met her husband, Joe, who's been involved in senior wellness since earning his health and exercise science degree. And a few years later, Ioana transferred to a home health agency. When the first BeeHive Homes opened up here in Minnesota, Ioana visited the community, and she was amazed at the refreshing and personalized setting. Joe and Ioana both agreed they wanted to start their own franchise and be part of this new spin on senior care. So they have BeeHive Homes of Maple Grove, and seniors can enjoy life and improve their health no matter what their age. And I can't wait to hear more about that. So thank you, Joe and Ioana, for being with us.
Thank you, Lori. It's a pleasure to be on your show. I've known your name and the great work that you do in Alzheimer and senior care advocacy for years, having worked in senior housing for since early 2000s. So it's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for having us.
Well, thanks for being part of the show and taking the time and spreading this new concept. I'm really excited to hear about it. Next, we are going to talk with Jim Huang and Jin Fang, and both have engineering backgrounds, but both are very passionate about senior care. Jin received his education on dementia care and senior care in a general format in Normandale Community College, and then online certificate programs as well. Growing up with grandparents around him all the time and seeing how family members provided intimate care until the end of life has really shaped both of their philosophies on how to care for aging loved ones. So I want to welcome Jing to the show. How are you today?
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Ioana, inviting us to be on the show, and it's such an honor to be on your program. To be honest, it's my first time to listen to your program, but since I've listened to a couple of them, and they're really, really helpful, informative, and we're really glad to join this show today.
Well, great. Thank you. It's going to be fun, and I think really informative as well. So I'm going to start with Jin on this first question, and just ask: have you been touched formally by family or friends with dementia? And then Jing, if you could answer after Jin, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah. As you mentioned, we both have engineering background. Really, like we started, looking into assisted living and memory care is because my grandma, because she about 3-4 years ago, she was in her 80s. I grown up with her until I went to college. So I spent like 20 years time with her, which I have a very strong bonding with her. But when I left her and, after I come to the college, she kind of started, getting the aging problems, not necessarily the dementia or memory loss at the beginning, but later on, she developed some symptom. During the whole process, I was away from her. I was very, I guess my will is to take care of her, but because of my own life with study, with work, I couldn't really do that part. So that really triggers me to start looking together with Jing around here and see if we can find a facility that can take her. We toured so many facilities, bigger ones, then we came across BeeHive, which impressed us a lot because it's a small setting and the intimate relationship, you can feel there the moment you step into the home. You feel that, like, make me feel that's a place I really want my grandma to be in. That was quite a process. Eventually we found BeeHive. In the process, my grandma was taken care of by the other family members. That's another thing. It's like, my other family members doesn't really have any experience with memory loss, so they want to take good care of her, but she still got a couple falls because the things family members were not aware of, so she couldn't really wait it long enough until we figured out a solution, which was very, very unfortunate from my end. Like, I feel I could taken better care of her, but I didn't. So that's one of the strongest wish I have. It's like I want to continue my wish to other senior peoples here in the community, to provide quality cares to other families, so people, can trust the home they're putting their parents, their grandparents in, and feel happy about it. Instead of, in my own situation, I didn't have the chance I wish. So that's how we get into this assisted living memory care field. That's because, the family members we want to take care of.
Great. And then Jin, did you have a family member as well?
I have my grandma, but no, she's in the Alzheimer, but she passed away last year. But then I was with her 6 months before she passed away. At the time, she's already kind of had a lot of memory loss. I mean, she wasn't diagnosed with Alzheimer's. It's kind of the condition. But then 6 months before she passed away, she couldn't talk, couldn't recognize people, and it's kind of. But then what I was kind of happy to see is that all my family members, my parents and brothers, sisters, they all took great care of her, and I just felt so lucky that she could have all these family members around her along the whole journey. And this is something that kind of moved me a lot, and I think I want to bring a similar kind of philosophy concept to the community as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Joe, how about you? Do you have any family members or close friends that have dementia?
Yes, I watched my grandma develop dementia and progress through that disease as well when I was in my older teenage years, and just she helped raise us as well as with us most every day of the week. So watching her go through those changes and experiencing that closely helped kind of shape where I took my career.
And Ioana, how about you?
I as well had experienced a family member who was affected by dementia. I grew up in Romania, and while I was a young child there, my great aunt had dementia, and we were a very close-knit family. We were a very small family, and we were very close-knit. So I grew up watching my uncle take care of her at home the best that he could, with very limited resources, because this was in a different country where there aren't as many options for care and support as we have here. And then I started working in this on this career path, and just saw what a great support network we have available, but that there were options that could yet still be improved on. So.
Now, Jing had kind of told us how they came about wanting to get into this field of memory care. What was your trigger point that said, we can do this?
We always had dreams of being entrepreneurs as a couple. So we had kind of explored a number of thoughts and ideas, and both of us working in senior housing, we were so invigorated and excited to not only learn about BeeHive and the care model and the support model that they offer, but also the business model itself. It being a franchise was very encouraging for me to say, we can do this with the support and help from a franchise and a network of other business owners that are like-minded. That's really what as soon as I stepped foot into the BeeHive, like Jing mentioned, not only could I feel the love and the quality of care that they offer, but once I heard the word franchise, I literally went home that evening and I told Joe, we're opening a BeeHive. And he said, I don't know anything about bees. What are you talking about? But now here we are.
Wonderful. And then, Jen, I want to ask you, because you two both have engineering backgrounds. Were you worried at all about how the heck are we going to do this? What do we know about healthcare?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of very similar to Ioana's situations. Like, we have this, it's like our dream. We want to do something in the senior living industry, taking care, of the seniors. Then we don't have the, the senior living background before. Then we literally were searching online, senior living franchise. Yeah, then BeeHive pop up as the first item. And then, it's not like a overnight we decided. We did get in touch with BeeHive, talk to multiple owners with, from BeeHive in different states. They were, their feedback were very positive. And, the people from the corporate further ensured us, we will get the support, the experience, everything we need to start successfully in this industry. That's why, that's how we decided to go with BeeHive. And also there are local BeeHives we toured around, and, so we know we have some, peers in Minnesota. We will not be alone. And then we have Ioana going together with us. So we feel very happy about, joining the BeeHive families and be part of the culture.
Jin, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I guess I just want to chime in here is that, so this is not like, a year's work to me or to us. It's really like 3 years before we started looking into the senior care, because, both of Jing and me, we're a single child, and our culture, it just requires kind of, we would like to take care of parents, grandparents, and that's the culture. And we want to do something really aligned with our vision. So that's kind of senior care industry. And we spent time looking into the healthcare part, the housing part, kind of a lot of learning. And then it comes BeeHive. So when Jing told me there's a BeeHive franchise, oh really? So we actually, we went to a BeeHive conference. So they have this annual conference, bringing all the owners together, sharing experience, information. So then we both have engineering background. Are there any people similar? We're just amazed about how diverse background people have to be a BeeHive owner. There's owners who are corporate officers, financial officers. There's owner who flies commercial airline, who's an airline pilot. There are also owners who, who does just IT industry, completely different things. And they can all be very successful. So one common thing among us, I guess, is really we are all passionate about senior care. And I think that one motivation really carries a long way.
Yeah, I would agree. It really, with passion, you can accomplish absolutely anything that your heart desires. And I can see and I can feel that from all four of you that, you really just felt this alignment, and you've been personally touched. You know what it's like, and you want to take good care of people, and that, that's half the battle right there. in terms of dipping your toe in the water and moving forward. So I congratulate all four of you for taking that risk, that big step to try to improve the world and make it better. Joe and Ioana, I want to ask you, what specifically attracted you? What was some of the differentiating factors you saw with BeeHive?
I think, Lori, the biggest factor for me and for us together was the sheer size, the fact that it is a small home-like environment, and it's designed specifically for taking care of people who are affected by cognitive impairment. So whether it's that Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia. So the specialty care and the size of it really are fostering that environment of loving care and really prime for providing the personalized high-touch environment that BeeHive stands for. And the other piece of it is having met the owners of BeeHive, the couple who started BeeHive back in the mid-'80s, and learning about their passion for senior care, quality senior care, and their heart for what they do, and kind of trickling that down to the rest of the owners that are part of BeeHive. That's really what set us on this path. And as Jin and Jing mentioned, this didn't happen overnight for us either. We started on this journey about 5 years ago. I think it was in 2014 when the first BeeHive opened, and so we've been traveling down this path for 5 years, and we're very excited to get close to making it a reality and start impacting those lives of families and seniors in a big positive way.
So if you can tell our audience if you're open or when you're going to be opened, Ioana?
We are in Maple Grove. We're currently under construction, and we at this time anticipate opening towards the later part of August, potentially early September. There are so many moving factors, so many moving parts with new construction we're learning that are out of our control. So that at this point, we're looking late August, early September in Maple Grove.
Okay, and I totally respect and understand those moving parts because I sold real estate and did a lot of new construction for 25 years, and all the rain we're having here can really throw things for a loop in and of itself, along with many other factors. Jin and Jing, can you tell me if there were specific things that just kind of lit your fire when you saw the BeeHive model that you thought, this is really different, this is something we really want to elevate and emulate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this part, this echoes with what Ioana mentioned is, first of all, the smaller size right away, it's one floor. There's no multiple floors, there's no elevator involved, and the staff can just we watch how their staff interact with the residents when they step into a BeeHive home, we notice it right away. The staff can just get to anywhere of the building really quick. You don't really need to have a complicated pager system to find where the problem is and find out where you have to go, what's the best route. You just know what's happening, in every place of the building, which is very ensuring to us because we feel it's just like home. You always got the attention. Well, the second thing is, kind of the homey feeling of the whole building makes people, at least makes us feel really relaxed. And this is, somewhere you can, you can feel like home. It's not like it doesn't feel like you walked into a lobby, then there will be hallways, go to different rooms like a hotel. When you step in, it's the living room, it's the dining room, just like a giant house, like your own home. Yeah, and on the third part, we can see, this is a small home, yet they do have a care team, consists of multiple, very professional staff, and we can tell the care staff to a resident ratio will be higher. You only have like 20 some residents, but you still have like multiple health aide and the nurses, always there. So that's right away a few things I was looking for and I noticed.
Jin, anything you want to add there?
I guess everyone's saying the thing I want to say. It's the small size. It's all about our residents, and because BeeHive homes are small, it can be. The model is designed to integrate people's personality, background, experience, so into how we care for them. What do we prepare for their dinner? What do we organize activity to do during the day? And especially for people with memory loss, a homey, family-like looking environment can really help them to navigate themselves and just to mitigate a lot of behavior issues. And we have high care staff to resident ratio, which helps to build those personal relationships, so we get to know our residents better, which helps a lot to provide very personalized care.
Wonderful, thank you. Ioana, I'm going to go back to you and Joe. When we're talking about size being smaller, and Jin and Jing had mentioned about 20, are you going to be the same size then? Are you using the same footprint that they are? And then what kind of ratio are you looking at for staffing? Have you devised that yet, or is that part of the franchise model?
We are, in size-wise, Lori, will be the same as Jin and Jing's home in Lakeville. So we also have 20 suites that are in our home. We have a few of our suites that are a little bit larger, so they can accommodate double occupancy, like a couple if needed, or potentially two, a roommate if somebody would prefer that companionship from somebody who's not related to them. So about the same, and we have the same floor plan. Generally speaking, with some minor tweaks, we have relatively about the same floor plan. So it's a floor plan that BeeHive has kind of worked on and developed over the years that seems to be the most conducive to the focused, specialized care that we provide through its design elements and the environment that kind of encourages purposeful wandering so that people are active physically and can walk around the community but yet still be safe and not feel like they're coming to a dead hallway, dead end in a hallway. So some of those elements were really thought out and represented in our floor plans now in Maple Grove and in Lakeville. In terms of our staffing model, we're still developing that, and with this level of care, it sometimes depends a little bit on each individual's level of care, or cumulatively what the level of care will be in our home at any given time. But as Jin and Jing both referenced, the BeeHive model itself is to make sure that we have proper staffing, not just to deliver on that high touch expectation, but also to really take good care of our care teams as well. My personal belief is that if we take good care of our staff, they will in turn take good care of our residents. So we want to make sure that our staffing ratios are adequate so that we can prevent burnout and in turn be able to optimize the conditions where our caregivers will provide the highest level of quality when they're working with the residents living in our home. Because I think one of the biggest things for BeeHive is that we are a family home where we develop a culture and an atmosphere that feels like family, where residents are comfortable, their families are comfortable coming to grandma's house and visiting. And we do that, I think, not focusing a lot on our quality of care, but also focusing on the whole person, beyond the physical care, really putting a lot of attention to the details that go beyond the healthcare piece, making sure, like Jin said, that we have home-cooked meals that are appealing and delicious, because nutrition is very important. And we structure our social programs so that they cater to both people who are introverted and like more of the one-on-one experience or small group experience, but also the larger group activities for those who are more extroverted and like to participate socially. but also little details like making sure that we have social programs later into the evening after mealtime, so that we can stimulate residents later on into the day and they can sleep better at night. There's a lot of research that talks about the importance of good rest at night. And we know that with dementia, sometimes that can be challenging. So trying to look at different ways to promote those healthy habits beyond just the healthcare piece, more integrated into their daily life.
Wonderful, thank you. One of the things I wanted to ask was, when it comes to social programs, does the BeeHive model allow the residents to, partake in helping make the meals, or some of those home chore things to create that home-like atmosphere? Is that part of it? I'm going to throw that to Jing and Jen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're small, we are more flexible in doing things. Residents can be invited to the kitchen to prepare, pastries, making meals. That's kind of actually part of the activities. It's more about, if people with memory loss, they especially need a purpose for their life, something they can participate, something they can show their value. And this is something we want to focus on, to have activities involves more with our residents so they can live in the moment, have a purpose for life, and that carries a long way for mental health in my viewpoint.
Jing, anything you want to add?
Yeah, pretty much, Jin touched on that. Yes, we have more flexibility in the activities and what residents can do together with our care staff because of the size, and we are really excited to see that's gonna happen very soon here.
Wonderful. I think it's exciting, and I think those smaller environments really are very conducive for people and help reduce some reactions or behaviors that might occur in larger communities, just because of noise factors or overstimulation or just the unknowns. So I actually worked in small group homes for like 9 years with the developmentally disabled, when initially in Minnesota we had large ones and then converged into getting rid of the big ones and going to smaller ones. And it was phenomenal, the difference in people in terms of what happened. One of the things that I wanted to talk about too was you're very focused on the resident, and it sounds like you're very welcoming to the families. That's something that you want to incorporate. Are you going to be doing any support for the families? Because it's a struggle and it's a difficult moment to place anybody. Even if they agree to go, it's still something family members still really struggle with heavily. And I'm going to go up to Ioana for this one first.
Absolutely. I think family education and an outlet for support is extremely important. We're here to help support not just the senior with dementia, but also their family as much as we possibly can through resources and educational opportunities, and ideally a support group as well if we have interest from our families to participate in something like that. We're very fortunate in Maple Grove. We are actually located near, right next door to a church that already has a lot of involvement. In fact, they have an annual event that they put on in the fall that revolves around dementia and Alzheimer's. And so we'll get involved in some of that education and invite the community, the general community, not just our residents' families, but the general community in to get involved and be able to be a part of that event as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Jen, anything you want to add from your side?
Yes, absolutely. The family community engagement is one of the bigger things that I was going to say that's kind of big thing, our to-do list or our focus, because it's very important to improve or promote that memory loss, memory care awareness over the communities. And so one of the Alzheimer Association, they asked whether they could host a local event in our building down the road. That's wonderful. I told them, because this is a great place that we can, practice our experience, show how we care for people, and then promote the memory loss, memory-friendly dementia-friendly community, how it should be looks like. And also our location is really nice. It's right in the heart of Lakeville, and it's next to a library, also next to a heritage center, where we could potentially, in our vision, to have a lot of activities down the road to collaborate with local agencies, community resource that can help bring that awareness up.
Great. One of the things I work with a dementia-friendly group in Roseville, and our library started memory minder kits. And those are starting to grow in Minnesota and actually around the nation, where, and that might be something to bring to their attention, where they put together packets that have an interactive piece for the person with dementia, kind of an educational piece for care partners, a music piece, and then some other type of either a game or puzzle or drawing or, whatever that they can do together. And those, we started with, I think, one for early, mid, and late stages. Then they did packets for FTD and Lewy body, and now they're working on one for children to understand dementia, and they're putting in children's books. So that might be something of interest if your library hasn't done that yet, just to be an added resource there. Now, I wanted to also ask you too about your care team, and what type of people are you looking for, and what type of model of care are you using? I know a lot of communities are going to a universal care model where everybody's a jack of all trades, and then others are, no, you do this task, you do this. What type of model are you guys going to use? And Jing, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so about our care team, we right now we have our director of nursing and housing director on board already. In between these two positions, we have 40 years experience from assisted living / memory care industry. Both of them are veterans of this industry, and what's in common for our two directors are, they were both in the bigger facilities, and their philosophy is more aligned with the smaller settings and higher quality care. So that's why they were looking for something like that and found us. And also our model or our philosophy basically telling us we need to hire people who are very hands-on. This is a small home. This is not a bigger facility or corporate. We need, even they're both directors, they are still involved in all the daily activities, in everything. They're hands-on, they're interacting with the residents and the families. That's the type of person or leaders we are looking for. And then if they carry the same philosophy, they will hire the same care staff down the road. That's how we see, how we're going to build our care team, and also make sure down the road we have everyone in our team share the same philosophy and can deliver the level of the level of quality of care we are looking for. Yeah. Anything to add, Jim?
Yeah, I just want to add one example that's one of the chef I met in Eau Claire home, sister home there down in Wisconsin. And I just love this lady. So kind of go back to what Laura, you're saying about kind of universal model. So this lady, she's a chef, but then she's the centerpiece of the home, because this, the kitchen is always the center of the home, right? And she would just go out, communicate with, talking to the residents, cooking some very interesting dishes, maybe also organize some activities. She's just very outgoing, not just focused on what's on the grill, what's on the pan, what's on the pot. She's kind of all over the place, and that's kind of person, care staff we want to hire, and that's gives you a family style, family-like feeling, because when you live in your home, your family does everything, right? They wash laundry, they know you in every possible way, and that's kind of we're trying to bring that concept up to the home. Wonderful.
Now, are you two going to be active in the home, or are you having others manage?
Okay, so I think we're going to be involved on a daily basis. Maybe probably me on the side, or Jing. We can discuss that later, to BD. But what we're trying to see is really we want to ensure our vision, our philosophy to be delivered, and we're not going to interfere with nursing, healthcare, but because we have amazing staff, we have amazing leaders there. What we want to focus is really on the big direction, the visions, how the home should be looks like. And that's we want to make sure that happens. And that's also I would say that we will be very ensuring to the residents' family that, we have a good leadership team, and we will do whatever we can to achieve our goal.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ioana and Joe, how about you two? What type of roles are you looking at playing within your community?
I will be the housing director, so I will be involved in the operations day to day and on site every day. And then Joe will continue with his career at this point and ideally joining forces down the road a little bit. I don't know. I think we're going to need a maintenance guy. So he's going to come in very handy.
Yeah, so I'll stay at my current job as executive director of a senior living community, and then I will duties as assigned.
His background in exercise science will also come in very handy to conduct some of our exercise classes. In the meantime, we do also have a director of nursing hired and a second registered nurse, and then we'll continue with that hiring process as we get closer to opening. We'll have our aides who will mainly focus on the caregiving piece, but we'll also have a culinary department and activities staff who will be somewhat dedicated to those. However, like Jin and Jing mentioned, in order to foster that home-like environment, everybody has to pitch in and work as a family, work as a team, and be cross-trained, across the board, just to support each other and to provide the best environment for everyone, not just our residents, but our care team as well.
What I've seen success with in hiring throughout the years is just hire for compassion, and you can teach them the hard skills. So we've had a lot of success with that in the buildings I've worked in. Just hire people who have heart, who can tell good stories and want to connect with the residents. And then just knowing your staff deeply to be able to carry out activities and life enrichment activities that actually line up with their strengths. So rather than requiring them to do something that's on the calendar, having them be creative and part of the process as well, so that it's something that they're passionate about and want to do, and it'll only increase their participation and excitement about that as well.
That sounds wonderful. When I go around the country and speak and train, that's one of the things that I hear is like, well, we're not allowed to get creative. We're not allowed to do this. And so I think fostering that creativity and that passion and letting staff have some ownership and giving them permission to fail, because sometimes it's not going to work out, but standing behind them and going, thanks for trying. What have you learned? How can we shape this differently? I think that is a huge need out in our communities, in the workforce in general. And as far as workforce, are you nervous about, because everyone is saying how short-staffed everything is, all around the country? Is that something that you worry about? I'm going to throw that back to Ioana and Joel first.
What I've seen, I think what really gets organizations is turnover. So it really does come down, again, with a smaller environment, we'll be able to know our staff well, know their specifics, and hopefully know their, what's going on at home as well, so we can support them through those. Of course, as the years progress here, the total amount of people available will be much smaller. But again, when we looked at some of the metrics of turnover throughout BeeHive, they're actually far less than different organizations. So we know that, again, like Ioana mentioned, treat the employee well and they'll want to stay.
And I think when we talk about our family environment, it extends to our staff as well, not just our residents. We want to make sure that our staff feel like they're part of our BeeHive family just as much as the residents are, because again, it just kind of trickles down from there. So like Joe said, I think the history of BeeHive shows low turnover because it's just unique. It's different. It's a different type of care model from both perspectives, from the perspective of the family and the resident, but also from the perspective of the care team as well.
Great, thank you. Jin and Jing, anything you want to add to that?
Yep, I can add to that. One thing that we noticed from our hiring for our DON and our housing director is that this industry is people easily to be burned out. And one thing that I've attended one of the hearing session for the planning commission in the city is that one of the bigger facility, like they have multi-story, 4-story building, and their financial can only work if they have 90 residents or more, or 90 bedrooms. And that way they can afford kind of normal size of caring team, and you need a facility guy. All this, but come down to residents is that one care provider needs to care for 7, 8, or 9 or more than 10 residents, which is really, I could imagine how their daily life looks like. And one of the nurses that we interviewed is that she's overseeing 3 or 4 buildings, each has like 50 people, so it can be really easy to be burned out. And as just Joe and Ioana mentioned, one thing we like BeeHive model is that, the business model works. We have a smaller home, even though our overall, staff number wouldn't be as large as the team size wouldn't be as large as big corporate, but then we also have a smaller size of residents, which come down to have a higher staff to residents ratio. And to the staff wise, a family looking like working environments, helping each other out, and they have manageable working loads, which is really helpful to us, I think, to advertise when we're hiring people, which I think come to the end, we should be able to hire very competent staff.
Yeah, I mean, Jim mentioned, like in our interview process, it's very interesting to learn, especially for nurses in this industry. They are nurses. They always, when people become a nurse, they have a big heart for the patients, everything. It's really hard for them to see they couldn't deliver the level of the quality they desired to deliver to the residents. One nurse mentioned to me, because of the burnout, she see the fall numbers in their facility increases, and which gave her a really hard time, which triggers her to look for different settings. So we feel, yes, I mean, it's a very competitive job market right now. But I believe with our model, we are able to attract quality people to our home because this aligns with their philosophy. And on top of that, BeeHive Home is providing a pretty competitive package.
Wonderful. One of the things that I did want to ask you guys was, we hear this all the time, my parent or my loved one is starting to exhibit behaviors and they're getting kicked out of their community now. How are you going to handle if there are aggressive behaviors or some of them might be sexual behaviors, those types of things? And Ioana, I'm going to throw that to you and Joe first.
I think we see some of that, and of course, every situation is different. So again, with our small care model, we'll be able to put different interventions in place to be able to work with that. But again, I think in those cases, especially if it's physical or sexual, there's definitely a case-by-case basis to find out, okay, well, what's causing the behavior? Can we look at medications? Can we look at oversight? And then other getting the physicians involved as well, and potentially psychologists, things like that. So looking at kind of taking a whole look at every piece of it to see what interventions we could put in place prior to just simply kicking people out, because obviously nobody wants to.
What I've heard from a lot of families is that once they move to a smaller setting, a lot of the behaviors go away because it could be noise related. It's just easier to be able to see what the trigger points are in a smaller setting than a bigger setting, and you don't have as much staff turnover, and communication is usually at a higher level, not always, but those things do make a huge difference in terms of being able to care for somebody and to be able to kind of step back and go, okay, what patterns are we seeing here? What was that trigger point? Jin and Jing, did you guys have something you wanted to add to that?
I totally agree. I mean, it's going to be a case-by-case scenario, but I think, our overall thought for this topic, for this situation is we are going to work together with the family and standing behind them. and basically, wearing the same shoes. So no matter, what is the situation, we always want to communicate with the family what needs to be done, what are the best approaches, whatever need to be done. I think we will try to work together with the family instead of, just kicking them out or give them like a 30-day notice and be done with it. It's, what we will do is going to be very different based on the scenarios, but that's going to be our overall approach. It's like we will be very, open, and also we will be working closely together with the family to find the best approach to address the situation.
Are you guys, and again, I'm going to continue with Jin and Jing, are you guys going to do anything with like aromatherapy or different textiles and sensory things and, kind of a holistic side compared to maybe medication as the first answer? Is that going to be incorporated? And then I'll bring that back up to you and Joe, Ioana.
One thing I think is really helpful in the senior care setting or, dementia care is really the incorporate some of the holistic approach, palliative care. People with dementia, they develop memory loss, but a lot of sensory, and some people can be more sensitive, So all this holistic approach, aromatherapy, maybe some also mild exercise can really help to mitigate a lot of behavior issues or, either mitigate or prevent them from happening. And we have, so this is part of the floor plan. We have a spa room, and what we'd like to do is really to invite service providers come to our home, provide service, and this is also I think this is an evidence-based approach to help people with memory loss issue. The other thing is really it's very interesting because we look into different things, and one thing that we look at is really the exercise. So we talk to someone from the U of M who's in the nursing department, nursing college, and who's specializing in dementia care, Alzheimer's disease. One thing she mentioned she's focused on is really the exercise, sports medicine can really help address a lot of behavior issues, prevent them from happening. And I've sent this to Ioana, kind of talk to Ioana. I share posts from Facebook. One thing I'm looking at is like Tai Chi or, some type of yoga, which, the mild, very balancing movement can really help to prevent fall and also helps people with memory loss issues.
Yeah, the Tai Chi, I've seen some studies on that. Same with like yoga laughter. That's becoming bigger and bigger all around the world now. Did you want to add something?
Just like Jin and Jing mentioned, we're definitely integrating some of those techniques, some of those interventions in our care model. In fact, our assistant director of nursing is experienced in aromatherapy. She was certified, and she took some education, extracurricular education, and became certified in aromatherapy specifically in working with people affected by dementia. So she's very excited about implementing a program in our home around that. And also exercise programs and looking outside the box to, like you said, get away as much as possible from the pharmaceutical approach. But working with the care providers, we will have an in-home primary care team, a physician and a physician assistant who will be coming to provide regular visits to our residents who choose to switch their primary care to them. So integrating them into the whole picture, as well as the family and interdisciplinary approach for each person, will be a big piece of it as well. But I'm excited about aromatherapy because I am a big proponent of essential oils, and I believe in it personally. So we're going down that path for sure.
I am a big believer in that as well. So I think that's wonderful. Well, I wanted to ask you and Joe, what maybe some of your fondest memories in senior housing that you've had so far, and what would you really like to replicate for your home?
So after I graduated college, my professor recommended that I take a look at a large senior living community. I had my health and exercise degree, and I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to do for work. So I took his word for it, and I started doing personal training with the residents, and just those memories day in and day out, being able to have that one-on-one time for personal training with the residents at the time was just so impactful. Coming straight out of college and being able to learn about the residents of, their independent living residents, assisted living, memory care, and still just being able to at least learn their stories, or at least learn as much as I could about them. And having that one-on-one time, it just created such a deep bond and connection that it just truly just launched my career from there, and I've stuck with it ever since.
How about you, Ioana?
There are two residents that are near and dear to my heart over the years that I've worked in senior housing, and one of them was actually one of the first communities that I worked in. It was a brand new community that we were opening in Plymouth, and this very spunky lady moved in. She was among one of the first residents who moved in, and she was just a pleasure to be around, because she just had humongous passion and love for life. And she had been an event planner here locally. She was from Minneapolis, and she had had the opportunity in her career to work with a lot of high-profile events and celebrities, and she had the personality for it, let's just say. So we got to know her. We got to be quite close, and being on a marketing team, I made sure that she was involved on the committee planning our grand opening and any event that we had going on in our community. I wanted her to be a part of it because she had great ideas, and it gave her purpose and meaning. But unfortunately, she had cancer. And it progressed quite rapidly after she moved in. So I think she ended up only living with us for about 8 or 9 months, unfortunately. But I will always remember her and her name and her life story, and going on that journey with her once she started hospice care, and being there in the room with her when she took her last breath. My other lady was also just Joyce, who I'll always carry in my heart as well. She was a resident who was full of life and passion as well in her own way, and came and visited me every day, and was there for us when shortly after we got married, and as we had our first child together, because we actually worked together in the same community at that time. So we both she knew both of us, and many of us just embraced us. I mean, really, just being a couple in that community was quite fun, because they always wanted to know, how's the pregnancy? How's the baby? How, they were highly involved in our lives. And it was like having, 100+ grandmas and grandpas around. It was amazing. So I'd say both of our lives have been enriched by working in this field.
Well, you can hear the compassion, and I totally get that. And I think that is one of the things that not only the residents will appreciate, but the families, because you can't hide that. And it is just such a phenomenal thing when the people who are caring for your loved one get them, like them, accept them, love them, and are there for them, because it's a scary thing to be able to place somebody and to feel like you can trust and know that they're going to be safe, know that they want to get a smile on their face just as much as you do. And when they're having a bad day, there's going to be someone to go hold their hand or give them a hug, or whatever it is that they need at that time is so critically important. And it'll be exciting to see how both of you blossom with this. Now, Jing and Jen, I want to ask you, what are some moments that you would like to create? How do you want people to feel? What is that going to look like? Can you explain that or put that in words?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to answer your question exactly here, but I would like to share one of the lightning moments in my life related with Alzheimer. It was like the moment was about how I first realized learned how it is, what it is, memory loss. It was gonna be on the funny side, because the way I learned about Alzheimer was actually from a TV show. It's called Grey's Anatomy. if you watch that show, you will know Grace's mother has Alzheimer, which I did not. I completely has no idea what it is before. But then when I watched the TV show, I saw how Grace's mother was, acting in the scene, like in the home, in the care home. I realized it's like a lightning in my mind, like, oh, this is a disease. This is not something. This is not just someone getting old and getting forgetful about things. This is not that. And I realized that's exactly what's happening with my grandma. I was so shocked, and that triggers me to start digging into like, what is Alzheimer, what can do. And later in that TV show, Grace's mother actually, they call it a woke up. So she remembered all of a sudden, which gave me a lot of hope. Like, even people has this situation, there's still a chance they can wake up, maybe not completely, but for a short period of time, which will be very precious for the family. And also the symptom can be treated to a certain extent if you have proper approach. So that was my moment of about Alzheimer. Like, all of a sudden it kind of like just totally a new thing to me, and related with my grandma, like became such an important thing later on in my life. And as for the moments we want to create, a lot of those comes from our own background, our own experience. Will be like creating moments for people to know about Alzheimer, to know about memory loss, just like how I learn about it. I hope I can provide opportunities to the family members, even even they're not our residents' family, they're even they're just the communities, create the moments for people to realize what is Alzheimer, what this can happen to their life, and how this can be how this can be improved, and how people can help their family members and other peoples. So that's really the moments I'm looking forward to create for the community, for for my future home.
Great, thank you. Jin, anything you want to add?
I guess I just want to mention our vision. So this is kind of come a long way, like how I should word our vision. But it is love and care for our aged loved ones, just as our own parents. Because we grow up with our grandpa, grandma. I know how intimate it can be to grown up with the loved ones, grandma, grandpa, and to see their aging and kind of along the whole journey with them. And to me, I would be really, really grateful to be accepted into a kind of family, like know their family, know their loved ones, and care for them just like they're one of their family members. And this is exactly the same thing that I want to achieve the goal in this BeeHive Home Lakeville. And a lot of things I was hearing Jill and Ioana mentioning all those experiences, and this is exactly why we want to go into this business. Want to spend so much effort and time to have this home built, to have those experiences and help people along their last moments of their life.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining me today. This has been just a fun conversation, and I'm really looking forward to being able to come through and tour both of your homes when you open. So please keep me posted. I think one of the other things that I am feeling from you, but I guess I just didn't hear the words in terms of communicating and educating families, was really also about getting them to feel comfortable with the disease, and that involves helping remove stigmas, and then also being able to teach them and show them that there can be great gifts wrapped in this disease that can really enhance all of their lives. And to me, like I said, my mom had the disease for 30 years, and her disease, truly, I say to this day, and probably will the rest of my life, was the biggest gift I'll ever get. So with that, I'm going to have each of you just give your contact information. Let's see, why don't we go ahead and start with Joe and Ioana.
Our phone number is 763-415-3900, and our website is BeeHiveMapleGrove.com. So BeeHiveMapleGrove.com, and 763-415-3900 is our phone number.
And they can also find you on Facebook, is that correct?
Absolutely. Thank you for that reminder. We do have a Facebook page, and we already have a few loyal followers. So please check out our page, and you can keep an eye on updates on construction progress and opening dates there.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Jin and Jing, do you want to give us your contact information as well?
Sure. Our phone number is 952-679-2076. And like Maple Grove, we have a website, BeeHiveLakeville.com. A Facebook page as well.
So both of your buildings are under construction. Are you both going to be doing some hard hat tours as it gets closer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Our goal would be to definitely provide those hard hat tours as permitted by the city.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you again, all of you so much. Please check out BeeHive in your area. If you're not in Minnesota, there are other BeeHives around the country, but if you're in Minnesota, check out BeeHive Maple Grove and BeeHive of Lakeville, and let us know what you think. I can't wait to go see them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
Hey everybody, Jared Sebesti here, host of Retire Repurposed. This podcast is dedicated to help people transition into fulfilling and purposeful retirements. Retirement is a big life change. In fact, the two most dangerous years of a person's life are the year they were born and the year they retire. Few people can just flip the switch from working a career 30 or 40 plus years, retiring on Friday without methodical steps to living what we call a repurposed retirement. To listen now, search Retire Repurposed on your favorite podcast platform, Senior Resource, or Life Audio.